it wasn't really a voice I heard with my ears. It was a voice I heard inside of me that said, "You are my child. Welcome home. You are loved beyond all measure." And I lost it. I started crying because it was so welcoming. But I was in Colorado 3 years ago now, in January of 2014, and I was bicycling in a small town just outside of Boulder, Colorado, and was hit broadside. So I was bicycling, like this, and was hit broadside by a woman driving a very large SUV. And she was texting while she was driving and didn't pay attention. Anyway, long story short, I was really severely injured during that crash and had 24 bones that were broken, most in my spine and neck. And when I was brought to the emergency room in the trauma center, it was determined I needed surgery to fix my spine, which, not a surprise, it was pretty well busted up and shattered in one place. So 2 days later, I was brought into surgery. And what they were going to do is put titanium rods along my back to stabilize it so it would heal. And during that surgery, when they gave me anesthesia, we're not really sure exactly why this happened because I was fairly healthy going into it. But I basically coded on the operating table. My heart rate went to zero, flatlined. My blood pressure went to zero. Everything stopped for at least 2 minutes, up to 3 minutes. And I didn't know that at the time because when they gave me the anesthesia, I just drifted off, and all of a sudden I was in this beautiful realm. To newbies to this, I call it heaven, but that's not a good term for me. But I was in the spiritual realm. I was up on this beautiful hilltop overlooking many, many, many layers of mountains with beautiful trees all around me. And everything glowed like with a silvery, energetic undertone. Even the sky was pearly blue, which is really difficult to describe, to have a metallic blue sky, but that's kind of what it felt like. But immediately what struck me wasn't the landscape. It was the feeling of love coming through from this place that I was in, or the state that I was in, coming through me, and this acceptance and welcoming. And it's very profound for me because before all this happened, I was wavering back and forth for 20 years between being an agnostic and an atheist. I didn't believe really in any of this stuff. I didn't believe in a spiritual realm. I didn't believe in any kind of a higher consciousness or a deity or anything like that. I just believed material, this is all that existed. And then when we die, that was it. So when I woke up in this beautiful place with this love and acceptance just immediately around me, and I thought, oh my gosh, I looked around like this and I thought, I think I died. And I wonder if this is what heaven is like. And as soon as I thought that, I wondered, it was an internal wondering. I thought to myself, but I don't believe in any of this. Why am I here? And I immediately it wasn't really a voice I heard with my ears. It was a voice I heard inside of me that said, "You are my child, welcome home. You are loved beyond all measure." And I lost it. I started crying because it was so welcoming. I said, I don't believe in you. How come I'm here? And again, the message was, you belong here. This is your home. And I just stood with that and sat with that for what felt like days. And eventually, a being approached me who appeared to be female, although she said that was a form that she took in order to make it easier for me to relate to her. She looked like a human-ish female, nothing really clearly defined, but vaguely, human. She appeared to have long hair and, had a vaguely human shape and a vaguely female shape. But she again welcomed me with love. And it was love that I felt through me. It was really odd. I could feel that love was a force coming through me. And it was a welcoming, peaceful kind of thing. And she said, I'm going to be your guide for the next little while. I'm going to teach you about this place and what you need to know to take back into your own life so that you can make your life better and what you want it to be. And when she said, you're going to go back to your life, I just immediately said, I don't want to go back. I want to stay here with you. And she said, no, it's your mission, your purpose to go back. So we argued about that sort of for a little while. And eventually she explained to me that I had agreed to go back, that I wasn't meant to stay here, and that I had accepted that already prior to my birth. She showed it to me from her own perspective. So she showed me myself in a very vaguely kind of spiritual form, and I knew it was me, agreeing to this with kind of a small council of other beings, agreeing to what I was going to do, but from her own perspective. So she was one of these entities or spiritual entities that was around me, but she showed me that whole scene from her perspective. She kind of put it right into my mind and into my heart. But I could also sense it from my own perspective as well. So I was beginning to remember. I saw it it was really odd. I saw it from both my own and from her perspectives. Hers was stronger. But as soon as she showed all this to me and I heard myself, here we would say I agreed to a contract, but it was really more of a verbal or a heartfelt contract. When I remembered that I agreed to that with my heart, then it was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to be going back. When I woke up, I thought, did that really happen? And I'll say a couple things. First, when I was there in that experience, I knew that it was more real than anything here. And to me, this was the dream. And as crazy as that sounds, this felt like the dream and that felt like reality. Or really, I should say, I knew this was the dream and I knew that was reality. But luckily for me, when I came back into my physical body, I'm kind of I guess a black sheep anyway. So I did toy with that question for a while. Am I really crazy? And then I thought, no, I'm not crazy because I know that was real. I got information that I didn't know before. It was so profound a change in me that for weeks I was just living in this state of blissful gratitude, weeping all the time at how beautiful it was. And my entire relation to the world changed for the better. So nothing that a hallucination would cause. I have actually had one unfortunate incident of hallucinating as a result of an allergic reaction to a medication. And that was it didn't make any sense. It was irrational, illogical. And I woke up more feeling just ill and not profoundly changed. So I knew this was different. And then I had the good fortune of my physician believing in me and explaining that this has happened to other people that he has treated, which was a godsend, truly a godsend. And a chaplain in the hospital also said, a Lutheran chaplain said, this is real. I've also seen this with other people. So you're not crazy. And it was widely accepted within my own circle of friends and family, which surprised me. And that doesn't always happen for a lot of people. So I was blessed, really, to have people around me who said, we believe you. And professionals who said, this is real. So that helped. We have this human ego that we deal with, and the human culture that we have isn't necessarily blissful and spiritual and loving all the time. So that was difficult at first to learn how to be here, but not be consumed by that. And eventually, what I realized I needed to do, and it took a while for me to get there, is all of this information that I was given during my NDE. I realized, that was meant for me to come back and live this dream in a very healthy way. My guide gave me all this information. And if I didn't put it into practice, I'd be miserable. So it was things like, while you're here in this physical state, learn how to love other people and just give love out. Learn how to really be grateful in each moment for what you have, and just focus on what you've got right now. Not what you maybe want in the future, but just focus on making your life better. Focus on the gratitude now. And basically just do the things that she taught me how to do, and practice the things she taught me to practice in order to really just live this dream the best that I can. So I think that whole chunk where I learned that I truly was in connection with the divine presence, that I was worthy of my own love, was the biggest shocker to me. Like, really, I'm a part of this. I'm not separate from this. This isn't another entity out there. I'm connected to this spiritual source. That's beautiful, and that's part of me. that was amazing to me. What I saw and felt and experienced was that divine love or divine consciousness as a part of everything in both this physical realm and in that spiritual. And for me, I could see it as kind of energy tendrils. It's tough to describe. It would be like a multi-dimensional lattice work of energy going through everything. And so even in this physical realm, we actually discussed this yesterday at my workshop, even the plants would have a level of consciousness. The rocks would have a level of universal consciousness going through them. So it's not, the way that it was put to me is divine love is everywhere and divine consciousness is everywhere. There is nowhere that it is not. That's a little kind of kludgy wording, but that's how it is. That's that divine, that universal consciousness is a part of everything in this realm. Not necessarily attached to a brain like ours is, but there is just a certain level of energetic consciousness that goes through everything. If there's anything that I've learned that could be helpful in your life, it might be, you can't save the world by yourself, the entire world, but you certainly can work on making your life the best that you can. And that starts with being a source of compassion and kindness as much as possible. And so that's what I would encourage people, is just in your own life to be a source of compassion and kindness for yourself and others.